Hello fellow residents of Tamriel, this is the Beav, welcoming you back for another video. This one is on a Stamina Warden build. Now this build is not quite as good as the Stamina Necromancer, but it does have its own playability, its own identity when it comes to some of the abilities you can use, just like the Stamina Necromancer class does. So it is a little bit fun to play, just like the Stamina Necromancer. Definitely not as much DPS as the Stamina Necromancer, but we'll work on that a little bit and maybe come up with something different to update it with later. But for now, this is what I've come up with. I'm strapped for time because of not having the time that I used to with the new job. So this is definitely a build that is a lot of static rotation that any new player will be able to pick up on and use. So let's go right down the line here, starting off. Inventory wise, we are using Perfected Locistes and we are using Perfected Reliquins. If you don't have the perfected versions of these, it is just fine. The only difference between them is you'll lose 1096 maximum stamina from the non-perfected version of Reliquin, and you'll lose 833 spell critical from the, or weapon critical, from the non-perfected version of Locistes. So it's not really that big of a deal. You lose a little bit of damage output, but not enough to where it's going to break the bank on you by any means. Now this build could be used with other trial sets as well. The Locistes and the Reliquins are definitely going to perform the best. And unfortunately, to get really high DPS numbers, they are the sets that you kind of need. Dungeon sets will do okay with these stamina builds as well, but just like a lot of the mage tunes that I've been going over as well, they have maybe even less options when it comes to the gear that you can actually use for this. So with some of the mage tunes, you know, you got Spell Strat, Necropotence, Crafty, Alfiq, we have Sioria, we have Mother Sorrow. Those are 5 right there just to name off. Any combination of those does really good on mage tunes for the most part. The Stam tunes, it's not the same case. There's not really too many overland sets that are going to perform tremendously well for you. Briarheart's a good set to wear, but other than that, there's not a whole lot of overland sets stamina wise that are going to, you know, perform really well like your Crafty does, or your Necropotence does, or your Mother Sorrow does. So it kind of handcuffs Stam tunes. A lot of them you just see the same thing, the Locistes and Reliquins with a Maelstrom weapon of some sort. The Maelstrom weapon I'm using is the Maelstrom bow. It has a infused trait with a weapon damage glyph. I am two-handing, so I'm using a Locistes axe. I am using the sharpened trait, and I am also using a double dot poison on this. The double dot poison can be made with Alkahest, Fleshfly larva, Nightshade, and Nirnroot. So those are the ingredients that you need. Fleshfly larva, Nirnroot, Nightshade with the Alkahest solvent. And that is how you make this potion. And it's a pretty powerful potion. Or not potion, but poison, excuse me. I am wearing Stormfist. I like the stamina recovery from this, and it does really good damage as well. So this is my preferred Stam set. Veladrith works very well with it also, and so will Celine's. So either of those, any of those three are going to work very well. I prefer Storm Fist because of the stamina recovery. It's nice with these long rotations that I do with these tunes. Now, every body piece I have is Divines. All of them have stamina enchantments on them except for the helm. I have the helm with a health enchantment on it. I am wearing 3 pieces of gold jewelry that are all in Bloodthirsty with weapon damage glyphs on them. I am two-handing, so I'm using the Executioner execute ability. That's why I like 3 pieces of Bloodthirsty. Robust is going to perform very well also, and so will your Infused. So this is just more of a matter of preference, and I prefer Bloodthirsty. Now, character sheet. It's going to be very similar to what you've seen from the Stamina Necro. Let me go ahead and take my food because it had ran out. So 10,027 maximum magicka, 15,255 in maximum health, and 31,656 in maximum stamina with a stamina recovery of 1669. Weapon damage is sitting at a flat 3,000, weapon critical at 37.9, and spell and physical resistance sitting evenly at 13,949. Now when I bar swap, our weapon damage goes down to 2647, our weapon critical goes up to 39.1, everything else stays the same. You'll notice that I do have 10 points in health and 54 points in stamina. This is just to give me enough health to get to that 15,000 range right there. The stamina, the Necromancer class has a passive that, you know, gives max health. So that is why in the stamina class for the Necro, we just had 64 points in stamina. In this one, we do have 10 points in health and 54 points in stamina just to get that up. Now that 15,255 is a little bit low. If you're not comfortable running that low, you can always adjust these points a little bit more or mess around with the glyphs that you have on your body pieces, however you like. With this Warden, though, that 15,255 is going to go up here in a second. I'll show you how that works. I am wearing the Shadow Mundstone, or using the Shadow Mundstone for critical damage increase of 19%, and the Lava Foot Soup and Saltreese, which is a max stamina recovery food. Champion points. I have 38 in Warlord. I switched this up just to see if this created any difference, and it really didn't. I'm going to go back to having 75 in Tenacity, 75 in Mooncalf. But, I mean, the extra 25 in each one did not do any difference. I've been lazy and not switched it, and I'm not going to make you sit through me switching it right now. 16 Tumbling, 16 Shadow Ward. I have 56 Master at Arms. I have 66 Thaumaturge, 56 Precise Strikes, 43 Piercing, 49 Mighty. Ironclad 72, Spell Shield 26, Medium Armor 26, Hardy 49, Elemental Defender 49, Thick Skinned 48. Skills on my bar, I have Endless Hail. Yes, I know the Arrow Barrage ticks higher than Endless Hail, but it doesn't last as long. And I have a really long rotation with this, so if my Endless Hail falls off, then my weapon damage glyph is not reapplying itself with it, therefore I'm leaving gaps in DPS. That is why I choose Endless Hail. I'm using Growing Swarm. This is a class ability that is very similar in damage to like your Consuming Trap, like you'll see right here. Very similar in damage, but this also applies minor vulnerability for 8% more damage taken on the target, which is nice. And it has a little splash damage to it too, of 1425 physical damage every 2 seconds to enemies near the carrier. So it has a little bit of splash damage, so that's cool for trash mobs. I'm using Poison Injection from the bow line. I'm using Consuming Trap from the soul ability line. I'm using Barbed Trap from the Fighters Guild line. And then I do have... I am running my bear on both bars, and this bear is a monster of a character, of a damage dealer. He is crazy. So on my back bar where I have more spell or more weapon damage, he does 3216 in physical damage, 1287 physical damage, and stuns things for 2 seconds when he does his big swipe. And when you for 75 points, you can activate his ultimate, which deals 14,560 damage, and it's an execute ability as well, so it'll do 100% more damage to enemies below 25% health. So, you know, on a crit, you're looking at 50-60k damage that's doing right there when you hit that during execute phase. That's a big hammer right there. On the back bar, I got Wrecking Blow. It is a big... it does have a little bit of cast time to it, but that's not a big deal. And it hits for a ton, 11,391, plus it grants Empowered for 5 seconds, increasing the damage of your next light attack by 50% or 40%, which is huge. It helps our light attacks do more damage. We have Subterranean Assault. This is a really hard-hitting, cheap ability. The reason it's cheap is because there is a 3-second delay on it. You can't stack these either. If you lay this down and then hit it 2 seconds later, it just restarts the timer on when the shocks appear. So you got to let it complete before you reapply it. So please keep that in mind. Any enemies hit are also afflicted with Major Fracture for 6 seconds. So reduces their physical resistance by 5,280. That's pretty cool. It does. It's doing the same thing a tank will do. Because of this ability right here, you're going to see this Parse really similar or maybe even higher than the Stamina Necromancer did, and it's going to be because of this ability. The Stamina Necromancer, I didn't have any Major Fracture applied. With this build, I'm going to have Major Fracture applied. So even though the numbers are going to look similar or even higher, the Stamina Necromancer is a harder hitter. So keep that in mind when you see the numbers. I do have Executioner. This is not going to be used until we hit the execute phase of 25%. I keep Bird of Prey back here. I don't activate it whatsoever. It is only here for the minor Berserker, increasing damage done by 8%. And I have my Bull Netch, which is going to... it does a couple nice things. First off, it's going to give you stamina back over 25 seconds. It's almost 200 stamina per second, so that's nice for your recovery, especially in this current patch. Now, it also provides Major Brutality, increasing my weapon damage by 20%. So in trash mobs, in dungeons, and in trials, I can use this to buff myself with, so I'm not eating through pots all the time. Plus, every 5 seconds, it will remove one negative effect, which is cool as well. So, it's a dual threat. It's a triple threat, honestly. Stamina back, weapon damage increase, and removes a negative effect every 5 seconds. So, kind of neat. It lasts for 25 seconds, so it's going to remove 5 negative effects during its time out if you're in an area where negative effects are placed on you. So, really cool right there. So, the rotation itself, to keep it as static as possible, we do Endless Hail. Then first off, I'm sorry, we call the Bull Netch out so it is active at the start of the fight, and then I'm going to use my Subterranean Assault. I'm going to hit this, and it's going to give me 3 seconds. So that 3 seconds, I can bar swap back to my front bar, hit my weapon power pot, and light attack Endless Hail, light attack Growing Swarm, light attack Poison Injection, light attack Consuming Trap, light attack Barb Trap, bar swap. And then it's going to be, I'll do a in a situation where I'm not getting resources back very well, I will I will start the back bar with a heavy attack and then subterranean assault. If I'm working on the trial Atronach or I'm somewhere within a group where I'm going to be getting resources back, I'm going to skip that heavy attack and just go right with light attacks. So on the 3 million dummy, it's going to be light attack or heavy attack, subterranean assault, light attack, wrecking blow, light attack, wrecking blow, light attack, subterranean assault, light attack, wrecking blow, light attack, wrecking blow, light attack, subterranean assault, bar swap, start over. So it's a long rotation. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but it does really good damage. We'll go ahead and go over that here in a second. I have all of my class passives filled out, and this is the class passive that I want you to pay attention to right here. Even though we don't have any of these abilities slotted, when you activate a heal on yourself, you or an ally, you grant that target minor toughness, increasing their max health by 10%. So keep that in mind for a second. But all three of these all the class lines have all their passives filled in. All my two-hand and bow passives are filled in. All my medium armor. The first three in heavy armor. I have all of my Fighters Guild passives and all of my Undaunted passives. And all of my racial and all of my alchemy, mainly medicinal use, just to make sure I can have a 100% uptime on my weapon power pots. Now, this passive in your orc line right here, when you deal damage with a weapon ability, which is any weapon ability you have plus light and heavy attacks with your weapon, you heal for 600 health. This can occur once every 6 seconds. So, or once every 4 seconds. So this is a weapon damage ability, or this is a passive that when you use your weapon for a light heavy attack, or use endless hail, or use wrecking blow, or use poison injection, or use executioner, any of those things are considered a weapon damage ability. So once every 4 seconds, when you're light attack and heavy attack weaving, you're gonna heal for 600. This counts as activating a heal on yourself, which then procs that other passive I was just showing you. So we give ourselves minor toughness in the process, so our health goes up to 16,500, and then we're in a little bit better health range right there. So that's a nice thing. It's a nice little play on two passives that I like. So let's go ahead and do this parse so you can see exactly how I would do this, and you can see the numbers as well. So here we go. Now I'm going to heavy attack because I'm not getting any resources back, so that the first thing that I do when I come onto that back bar is do a heavy attack. And then a light attack everything else. Should have hit my bear sooner, I wasn't paying attention. Man, this thing's laggy. I'm not getting any light attacks on that front bar. Alright, we're in execute phase now, so I am just going to use my executioner and take him down. And there we go. 44,264. It's good damage, plain and simple. Now, major fracture was being applied, so when you take that major fracture away, you'd be in the 39 to 40k range. You're still getting really good damage. Now, on the trial Atronach, I've had this hit as high as 72. Not quite as good as the 79 or 80 that we get from the Stamina Necromancer, but for just kind of throwing this together in a hurry and just trying to go through things, I don't think this is a bad setup. It's something that people can work with for now, And later on, we will update it and we'll work on it some more. And if I find anything new, I will definitely let you know as quick as possible. I'll update it as soon as I possibly can. With my new work schedules, it's kind of hard to do, but I'm going to try really hard for you guys. Now, with that being said, thank you for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it greatly. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments below or on PlayStation or in the guild. But appreciate everything, guys. Thank you very much. And everyone have a good day.